Hello everybody and welcome back to Franki's Fortunes. Today we're going to have a look at the month of August. We did take the month of July off, my apologies. Life got in our way and we just could not get a reading out for the month of July. So we're going to do one for August. And our usual modified Celtic cross is what we're going to do. I'll give the cards a quick shuffle here so you don't think I'm stacking any decks or making any crazy predictions without first shuffling. And last time. Here we go. And with the left, from the left, as always, cut, 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 collect. All right. And here we go. Star, the Ace of Wands, Two of Cups, Knight of Cups, the Tower, Seven of Cups, Strength, Death. Please don't be frightened when I get here. I will explain this card. And finally, the Chariot. Oh my. That is an interesting blend. Let's have a read and see what it all has to say. Well, well, well. Quite a tale our cards have to tell us. We start, of course, in the center where we started from. So we start with the Star. The Star tends to be hope, inspiration, challenges met, things of that nature. Crossing it, we have the Ace of Wands. Wands, again, tends to, look at the home, what we call home, what we think of as home. And that could be your actual house. That could be something that you think of as home where you live. Maybe it's your country, maybe your state, your province, wherever it is you think your, home lies. So we have hope, we have inspiration, challenges met, and it has to do with what we call, or what you call, home in the month of August. So again, we're looking at home as being a bit of a center piece, less so this time than it has been in the past, but still dealing with home. In the most recent past, we have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is going to bring us new romances, new loves, new things that make our heart go flutter. Now that might be a person, that might be a thing, that might be whatever it is that you believe makes your heart stronger, makes your heart feel light and airy and happy. So this all again has to do with what we call home. Coming up here, what's actually just gone by is the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups tends to be a younger fellow, probably under the age of 50, but older than 25. He tends to be probably a auburn, maybe light brown, sandy color hair. He's riding a bit of a dark horse. So while he is, cups being our emotions, our feelings, he is riding a bit of a dark horse. So while he came in and offered, some love and affection, they may have had strings. They may have had other things attached to them that you had to give up in order to get what he was offering. So coming now going into our future, we're looking here at the Tower. And again, we've had this card before. You see the flames, you see the lightning bolts, you see the water. I mean, this is absolute catastrophe, except it doesn't mean that it's going to actually predict an earthquake, a fire. It could just be a political catastrophe. We could be looking at something where perhaps such as our friends here to the south who are having so much fun with their election. You know, we have an unfolding of a party that's clearly not unified. That could absolutely mean that. And when I get into these next cards, you'll see a little perhaps more of what I'm talking about. So we have the home, some hope, some inspiration, some challenges. We have new things that are making our hearts go pitter-pat. We've had an artist type come by and say, you know, I can give you everything you want, but it may cost you. We have some catastrophic events happening here, and I don't believe this is actually a fire or an actual earthquake, although, you know, watch, that's exactly what'll come out of that. We're looking at that in the next couple of weeks here in August. So now coming up into the future to go through what's coming up in this month, and you'll see why I was kind of picking on the political arena to the south of us here in the U.S. We come into the Seven of Cups, and it's upside down, which means our cups are spilling, our emotions are a little bit overflowing, they're kind of running aground. There's a little bit of despair coming out of this card, and a little bit of you know, somebody getting away with things that they probably shouldn't, and you know, a little bit of bitter disappointment happening here. Oddly, following it is strength, and you can see, you know, you've got a lady here holding a lion's head, and her hands are right in the lion's mouth. Not to steal a phrase from any political campaign going on, but this actually stands for triumph over hate. I kid you not. You can look it up if you want. So this is clearly coming into the foreground of a campaign, U.S., that has gone into full swing now. Now, earlier I said, please don't panic when you see the death card. The death card never means actual death. What it means is death to something we know, death to something we have become accustomed to, change, creation of new ways of doing things. So you have the death card here. It is probably more to do with the change in way we look at things. I for one, am seeing a lot of changes in our media, things like that, and how we get our news and what is considered news. So I think the death of the way we have traditionally thought of campaigns, and I go back to that because that's what I'm kind of seeing here. I'm seeing, you know, in America that might be, you know, a little challenged, a little harshly hurting. I see a home that, you know, wants desperately to be loved and to be filled with hope and inspiration. And I see this cups of despair running down here, and I think there may be a serious connection, especially when I get the woman holding a lion's head saying, you know, love triumphs over hate. Hello. I couldn't get much more clear indication of what we're talking about. I think we're going to see a change in how we choose people to be our leaders. I think you're going to see a change in how people react to how those who are our leaders are actually chosen, and how they perform and act in public. Our media has changed so much. I think you're going to see a lot of change in the media, and that comes here from this Chariot, which tends to talk about, you know, people that came in a chariot were always our kings and our queens, and they were important to us. However, we've got one here that's upside down, which means your cart's been upset, and it no longer brings us clear news from afar. This is now kind of muddled news, and a little bit of unsure footing to go forward. As you can see, you know, you've got horses here that are not clearly aligned. You've got two going in each direction here. So I see a lot of campaign chatter going on through the month of August. I see a lot of talk about, you know, oh, the doom and gloom. But here I'm going to hear more about strength. And we're going to see an absolute shift in how we look at it and how we treat it and how we go forward from it. And I think at the end of the day, by the time you get into September, and then we're getting into pretty high campaign time, I think you're going to see an upset cart. And I don't know if that means, you know, maybe they boot the nominee. I don't know. I don't know if that means, you know, we see some unforeseen news. I have no idea what this would mean, other than it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be an upset cart. You're going to have two horses going in two different directions. And there's going to be a little bit of concern and almost crisis feeling by the end of August when you see this card come through. So that's our reading for the month of August. I'm very curious to see the reading now for September. So we will see you again at the beginning of September with our predictions for the next month. Until then, enjoy your fortune.